everyone, welcome back to another delicious, healthy recipe that's gluten and dairy free. In this video, I'll be making two easy, delicious tofu dishes that make the perfect lunch and dinner meal. The scrambled tofu and quinoa dish is not only perfect for lunch and dinner, but this dish also makes a great breakfast, and I also feel that the scrambled tofu resembled scrambled eggs, and this reminds me of a satisfying breakfast meal. To make the quinoa and scrambled tofu dish, begin by preparing the tofu. We want to remove excess moisture from the tofu, as this will ensure that the tofu cooks well. So, to remove the excess moisture from the tofu, place one block of firm tofu on top of some kitchen towels. Then place more kitchen towels on top of the tofu. Then put something heavy on top, but not too heavy as we don't want to flatten the tofu block. I've used a chopping board and ceramic plates to add weight to the tofu. Then let this sit for 20 minutes. Whilst the tofu sits, thoroughly rinse and slice a leek and a carrot. I really love to incorporate leeks into my dishes as they contain antioxidants, and this reduces inflammation within our body. Nearly all my savoury dishes will include carrots because I really like the taste of carrots, and they also contain vitamin K, and this supports our bone health and blood circulation. After this, grate 2 garlic cloves. Garlic is another vegetable that I always like to use in savoury dishes as it adds lots of flavour, and garlic also has anti-inflammatory properties. Then heat 1 tablespoon of olive oil in a frying pan over medium heat. Once the oil is hot, put the vegetables into the pan and cook them for 10 minutes until the vegetables have softened slightly and have heightened in scent. Then add the spices to the pan, so I've decided to add a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper and 1 teaspoon of thyme and a pinch of sea salt. Then slice the tofu into cubes. It's okay if you can't slice the tofu into perfect cubes because we're going to crush the tofu when it's time to cook it with the vegetables. Tofu is a great source of protein, and protein helps our body to repair itself. Then add the tofu and gently crush the tofu until it resembles a scrambled egg texture. Cook everything for a further 10 minutes. To cook the quinoa for this tofu and quinoa dish, boil 2 cups of water in a saucepan. Then rinse 1 cup of quinoa and carefully put the quinoa into the saucepan. I prefer to boil the water first as I found that this helps to cook the quinoa very well. Boil the quinoa for 1 minute, then reduce the heat to the lowest temperature and cook the quinoa for a further 12 to 15 minutes. When the quinoa is cooked, the texture will look soft and fluffy. Remove the quinoa from the heat as soon as the quinoa has cooked. Then serve the quinoa with half of the scrambled tofu as we're going to use the rest of the tofu for the other dish. This dish is not only great for lunch and dinner, but the scrambled quinoa resembles scrambled eggs, and this is what makes this tofu quinoa dish perfect for breakfast. Now let's move on to the tofu and mashed potato recipe. Begin by peeling and slicing 2 large potatoes. I found that slicing the potatoes into 4 quarters helps the potatoes to cook quicker. Potatoes are a great source of fibre, and this helps us to feel full for longer. Then rinse the potatoes and boil them for 15 minutes until the potatoes have softened. Once the potatoes have cooked, reduce the heat, then mash the potatoes until they become soft and fluffy. To make the potatoes creamy, add a 1/4 cup of soya milk and 2 teaspoons of olive oil. I'm going to also add a pinch of salt, 1 teaspoon of coriander and 3 garlic cloves to heighten the flavour of the potatoes. Then mix everything together. Serve the remaining scrambled tofu with the creamy potatoes to complete the scrambled tofu and creamy potato dish. Please subscribe for more delicious, healthy dishes that are gluten and dairy free. Thank you for watching.